categories of operating systems: personal, workgroup, and enterprise. Each has their own unique characteristics. A personal operating system is used on an individual computing device that can run without being part of a network. While these devices may be connected, they don't have to be in order to run. Examples of these would be regular desktop computers, laptops, tablets, and smartphones. The most widely used ones are Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. The Windows OS was created by the Microsoft Corporation in 1985. It is the most widely used OS for personal computers, or PCs. If you have been a PC user for some time now, you may recall some of the different versions of Windows, such as Windows XP, Vista, 7, and 8. New versions are released to keep up with the changes in hardware and software, and with general trends in the computer industry. For example, the 2013 version, Windows 8, has been designed with touchscreen technology in mind. The Mac OS is the general name for the operating system developed by Apple Incorporated in 1984. This operating system is unique in the sense that both the operating system and the hardware are made by the same company. Similar to Windows, there have been a series of different versions over the years. The Linux OS is a free and open source operating system developed by Linus Torvalds in 1991. It is based on the original Unix OS developed by AT&T in 1969. The underlying source code for the operating system can be freely used, distributed, and modified. Partly because it is free and open source, it has been adapted to run on many different types of devices, from desktop PCs to supercomputers and mobile phones. A number of commercial versions of Linux are also available, providing additional functionality on top of the regular Linux version. Most desktop PCs and laptops use Windows or Linux, while Apple computers use Mac OS. So, what do other computing devices use? That depends. Some are designed to use an OS designed for traditional computers. These include iOS for phones and tablets made by Apple, and Android and Windows Phone for devices from other manufacturers. All these different operating systems can get confusing, and they keep changing. Keep in mind that many of them use very similar features. For example, clicking on an icon with a mouse or finger opens an application or file. Clicking and dragging moves something. There are, of course, numerous small differences, and many enthusiastic users will swear by one particular OS. A workgroup is a collection of individuals working together on a task. When these individuals connect their computers together in a network, this is called workgroup computing. This makes it possible for the users to send email to one another, share data files, schedule meetings, and connect to the same printer. Specialized workgroup systems make it possible for users to define workflows where files are automatically forwarded to the right people at each stage of a process. Workgroup computing typically uses a local area network, or LAN, a collection of computers that share common resources and responsibilities. LANs are typically small with no more than 10 or 20 computers. This could be a home, a small business, or a school. An enterprise is an organization with a large number of employees typically distributed over a number of offices that are geographically separate. In an enterprise environment, individual computers are connected to each other and can share resources similar to a work group. However, an enterprise network is typically much larger and may have hundreds of users, often in geographically separate locations. In addition, the network itself provides services not found on individual computers. The operating system for this type of network typically resides on a computer server. A server is a computer system that provides services over a network. These services can include things like data storage, file sharing, email management, hosting websites, and the like. The network operating system has many of the functions of a personal OS, but also needs to provide functions for security and administration. Multiple users need to access the network at the same time, and this needs to be managed carefully. A number of different operating systems can be used to manage an enterprise. Managing multiple platforms in a single network used to be very complicated, but in today's business world, multi-platform is the norm. A file name extension, or file extension for short. A file extension is part of the file name and uniquely identifies the type of file, also referred to as the format, so that the operating system, or OS, of a computer can recognize the file type. When your OS sees a file with a .doc extension, it knows that this file is the native format of Microsoft Word. So when you double-click on a file, your OS will automatically launch the correct software application and open up the file in this application. Most file extensions consist of 3 characters, but the number of characters can vary. For example, the file extension .py only has 2 characters. This file extension is used for files in the widely used Python programming language. There are hundreds of file extensions, from .a to .z, and then there are special characters and numbers too. Why so many? Some of this results from the fact that different files can contain very different data. For example, a .txt file contains text, while a .mus file contains music. So, file extensions can be data contents specific. However, if that was the only reason, you wouldn't need hundreds of different ones. So a second reason for so many different file extensions is that different software applications organize similar data in different ways. For example, documents created using word processing software use mostly text, but Microsoft Word saves files as a .doc. File extensions can therefore be software application specific. There are some very specific technical reasons for this. For example, digital photographs require lots of storage. Clever algorithms have been developed to compress the data, and there are a number of different algorithms, each corresponding to a different file extension. So you can store a digital image as a .jpg, .png, or .tif, and each one represents a different compression algorithm for the same type of data. These formats are not specific to a particular software program, and most photo editing software can open all these different formats. File extensions can therefore be algorithm specific. Some formats are also very specific to a single operating system. For example, some multimedia files may only play on a computer with Windows and some only on a Mac. Most formats, however, can be used on multiple platforms. Finally, different companies may have developed proprietary format. So while some formats are almost the same in terms of functionality, different file extensions are used to recognize their proprietary nature. There's no need to remember all the different file extensions. Remember that your computer's OS recognizes the file extensions and knows which applications to use for which format. However, it is good to be aware of some of the most widely used ones. File extensions like .exe represent executable files. In other words, they can run by themselves and don't need to be opened by a software application. When you download software, it often comes as a .exe file. When you double-click the file, the software installation starts. You should be very careful with .exe files, especially if you receive them by email. Operating systems have difficulty determining exactly what is inside a .exe file, and computer hackers often hide viruses inside these executable files. Unsuspecting users run the executable file and end up with an infected computer. One of the most widely used productivity suites is Microsoft Office. Each software application has its own file extension into .docx, .xlsx, and .pptx, respectively. Digital photographs can be stored in many different formats. These include .bmp, bitmap picture, .gif, graphics interchange format, .jpg, joint photographic experts group, .png, portable network graphics, and .tif, tagged image format file. Photo editing software applications can typically work with all these formats. There are also a number of different audio and video formats. Commonly used audio formats include .aiff, audio interchange format, .mp3, Moving Picture Experts Group version 2, audio layer 3, and .wma, Windows Media Audio. Commonly used video formats include .avi, audio video interleave, .mp4, Moving Picture Experts Group version 4, part 14, .mkv, Matroska, and .mov, QuickTime. Similar to digital photographs, most software applications to play or edit multimedia can handle a variety of formats. A few more miscellaneous formats you are likely to encounter are .csv stands for comma-separated values. These files are commonly used to store tabular data with a minimal amount of formatting. You can use spreadsheet and database software applications to import these files. .html stands for Hypertext Markup Language. This is the format used for creating web pages that are displayed by an internet browser. .txt is used for text documents which contain no formatting. They can be opened by any software application that works with text. .zip is a file extension to indicate one or more files have been compressed into a much smaller archive format. Operating systems have built-in utilities to create and extract these types of files. The more you work with computers, the more different formats you will encounter. You will also start recognizing the file extensions used by the software you use most often.